What's going on, guys?
Oh,
Sorry.
It's good.
So I know we usually start with an intro with Alex's weird intro, but
my voice.
fortunately, he did something last night he probably shouldn't have done, so his throat's a little sore this morning. I won't say what he did, but we're just gonna go ahead and say that for now.
I want to know what he did.
No one wants to know. It's you can
needs
check
to
on
know
the
that.
Instagram.
I think it's a little too vulgar for this right now. Just kidding. No.
No, I really want to know.
No.
He's just a little sick right now, so we're just gonna hold back on the intro. We're back this week with another episode on the road. This time we are at Vitolas in downtown El Paso, Texas, at 216 West Franklin Avenue.
Oh, shoot.
We're here with Fernando,
How's it going, guys?
owner and operator of Vitolas. Thank you, letting us come down this week and do it from your spot. We really appreciate everything.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for keeping the room, because
Yeah.
Play was saying was like, yeah, I don't want that you can.
I
You
think-
wanted to kick people out of the room. For
Oh,
us,
yeah, well,
which is
you know.
appreciate it.
Didn't want to have any interruptions.
Uh,
And I wanted to be able to hear about whatever Alex did last night without anybody else hearing.
We'll get into that later.
Without scaring anybody that's in the room next.
No, but also we gotta thank, like always, Old Cheek Dog for sponsoring us and supplying us, like always, with beer. Today we have two different kind of beers. We have on this, I think, yeah, this is the right one again? Yeah. On this one we have the fifth, which is a double chocolate stout made with Carlos Quinto, Mexican chocolate. And then we have De La Palma, which is a New England style coconut pale ale. Sorry, so that. Which you guys want to go check it out. Don't forget that they're
Ooh.
located at 3900 Rosa Avenue, El Paso, Texas, 799. 05. Almost forgot.
Almost forgot. No, yeah, but for real, thank you to Ochi Dub again for helping us out. We really appreciate everything that they've done for us, keeping us alive and pretty much helping us out with all the equipment and everything. So thank you again, Ochi Dub. Please be sure to check them out.
You always go fast.
I get excited. But yeah, so this week we're at Vitolas, indoor cigar lounge here in downtown El Paso, Texas. Fernando, why don't you go ahead and tell us about this place? What got you inspired to open this up, and what's the story behind it, and what's everything that you've been doing with it.
Okay. Well, thank you. As Cesar mentioned, it's Vitolas, downtown on Franklin Avenue, right across from the Santa Fe entrance to the ballpark. Centrally located. We've been here since the end of 2016. I've been in the industry since about 2001, actually. I started out just working as a cashier at a locally owned cigar shop. I went on to manage another cigar shop for another 3 years, from about 2013 to 2016, up until I decided to open this place. I would say that starting in about 2013, I started toying with the idea of having our own place. I would say my wife and I, Mia, started toying with the idea and talking about the idea of having our own place. If I don't mention her, I'm going to be in big trouble.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
you did it.
Yeah, 3 minutes in and I already name dropped my wife. Yes.
Yes.
He's like, only 5 more times left to do it.
Yeah. And, I can honestly say that it was just an idea for 3 years. One of those ideas, one of those dreams that seems a little too big, to really happen. But in about October of 2016, literally in one weekend, on Friday, it was unlikely. On Saturday, it was possible. And on Sunday, we were doing it.
Oh, shoot.
And we opened, our first day of sales was December 1st, 2016. We have done well. We have grown and grown and grown up until March of 2020 when the pandemic started. So things have been a little different, but we're okay. We're still here, plan on being here for a while. And, can't get enough of our customers. I love our customers. We get really interesting, really nice people here for the most part that I think anybody would want to talk to. It's the kind of place where total strangers show up and halfway into a cigar, they're friends. You know, they're exchanging numbers, they're exchanging emails, they're friending each other on Facebook. It's a convivial place. It's wholesome. I think the main goal, the main reason to get together at Vitolas is conversation. To get off your phone for a little while, face to face, actually talk to each other, 6 feet apart, please. But you can do that here. That's another thing I'd like to mention. I think the nature of the business lends itself to abiding by the CDC guidelines and distancing protocol and things like that. It has never been a high volume place. It's never been a place, that's constantly jam packed. It's all about space and comfort and a quiet, relaxing environment. I know I kind of went all over the place there for a little bit, but I mean that's the basic gist of it. I love the place, and I wanted to stay here for a long time. And when you guys are comfortable, come on over.
Yeah, and well, you open in being a cigar shop and also a whiskey lounge, right? Because that's another thing you carry. Well, not right now because of the situation, but you have carried like good quality, high quality bourbon whiskey, and which I appreciate because you're one of the few spots to carry one of my favorites, Angel's Envy.
Which one is it?
Angel's Envy.
Oh, okay, Angel's Envy, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that you mention it, Alex, one time you got really lucky.
Oh yeah.
Are you allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
One time you got really lucky. I had Carlos, my employee, was fairly new here, and Alex, you asked for an Angel's Envy, and he poured you an Angel's Envy finished rye, which is like it's 3 or 4 times the price of the one you ordered.
Which when I tried, I was like, wait.
Yeah, I know.
Way too good.
Yeah, and I wasn't, of course, I wasn't upset. Things happen, but what I was worried is that.
Order more.
Yeah, we raised the bar for you inadvertently, and now you're gonna want to drink the finished rye all the time.
I loved it.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, well, we just came for one drink, so that's why in a cigar we had a croqueta, which is it's like half a cigar.
Yeah.
That's why we came. I think it was 3 of us. And as soon as I sipped it, I was like, this is too good to be my usual Angel's Envy. Which even though Angel's Envy, it's not that cheap either.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not what you might call a well.
Yeah.
Whiskey is
he's trying
it's
to
a
make it
great.
know that he's not cheap.
Not cheap, guys. Something's out class.
It's just a well-made straight bourbon with a port cask.
Yeah.
Finish to it, which is what gives it kind of that sweet note, particularly on the finish. It's a real nice bourbon. Nice bourbon. You guys aren't smoking. Do you want to?
I actually do.
Yeah?
I'm okay for right now, actually.
You okay?
Yeah.
What do you want to smoke?
You told me to try one, and I'm curious because I took the took one of the acids, the blondies, and you told me to try one, and I forgot the name.
Do you think that it was something that I maybe described as similar to the acid, but a different company? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Step away for a minute. I'm gonna have Carlos bring it up. Okay.
Okay.
What kind of a cut do you like?
B cut.
All right.
Service on the dime.
See, that's why we like this place. Also makes us look fancy every time we come in.
You want the size of a blondie or something a little bigger?
Size of the blondie is fine.
Okay.
See, damn. So many questions. Just kidding. No, but we do come here a lot, and it's just we feel fancy. Not gonna lie.
I feel fancy. I don't usually do fancy stuff. So
This
I
is the
feel
one thing we
fancy.
should have brought a suit.
It's the one time we need to be like Barney Stinson. Suit up.
Next time we come here.
Yeah.
Which also we'll talk about when he comes here, because I don't want to get it wrong either.
All right, I'm back. Carlos will bring it up in a minute.
I was gonna, because last time we had a misunderstanding. That's why we couldn't record. But you told me that it's fine whenever we want to record here. Like, to kind of. So that's what I was gonna tell you. Like, if we don't have a spot to, we usually like promote local spots, and we're trying to promote musicians as well.
Yeah.
So it will be fine with you if we bring, like, of course I'll let you know ahead. It's like we record. which gave us both a good thing. Like I
Yeah.
can have a good cigar and beer because we're sponsored, of course.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Especially, you know, the way you've been communicating with me with a little heads up.
Yeah.
I gotta make sure, like, if somebody reserved a room or something, or
Oh,
if it's a
yeah.
Friday night and it might get busy, which would be nice.
Yeah. Well, right now it's just
Yeah.
we all know it's been back in
Mhm.
the.
So I'm a lot more flexible
Yeah.
as long as things are the way they have been, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's the other thing I was gonna ask. With this happening, you outside of this, you told me you had to revoke your own liquor license, right?
Mhm. Well, what I would say is that we didn't have to, but the wording on the last governor's order made it so that because we had a liquor permit,
Yeah.
that basically disallowed people from hanging out at the lounge, and so we had to sit down and talk about it, and when we couldn't find many loopholes, we decided something had to be done because what we couldn't tolerate was an empty lounge. We wanted people to safely be able to sit down and enjoy their cigar, Vitolas, because ultimately that's what the place is about. And it was too sad to have this place and not be able to host anybody. And so we decided to voluntarily suspend our TABC permits so that that order would not apply to us, at least not the way it originally did, and that way we could allow people to safely sit down and have a smoke in the lounge. So we are temporarily operating under, BYOB status. I wish I could tell you exactly how long that's going to be the case, but there's always red tape to deal with. So.
Yeah.
But we'll
Especially
definitely make it a big deal whenever we are allowed to operate the way we normally did again, which we're very much looking forward to. I miss making whiskey sours and old fashions and Manhattans and aviation cocktails for people. So I'm looking forward to the day that we can do that again, and we'll definitely make noise about it when that happens.
And we'll keep it up
Yeah.
with you because, like we said, honestly, it's one of my favorite spots to come in. Like it's when like you said, relax, talk to someone. We come in multiple times, and it's the same. Just we have a cigar, a couple glasses of whiskey. We all have our favorites or a mixed drink, and you guys make good mixed drinks. Like it's
Thank you, man.
it's
I'm
not
glad
only
you like
just
it.
coming in, it's having just the simple, which that's one of like just having simple on the rocks, but there's nothing like getting, like I said, a good old fashioned made properly, because a lot of people do them and it's just like
Not good.
I don't want to
Not
just
good.
they're not good.
Yeah.
They're not good.
Or they do a whiskey sour and they forgot about the egg. And it's
Uh-huh.
like, what's
You're like,
Mhm.
where's the sour?
or it's that, or they use the fake syrup that it's just.
The fake syrup and the Minute Maid lemonade
Oh yeah, no.
out of the gun. Yeah.
I remember going
Yeah.
to one of the bars here downtown, actually across here, Grey Dog, and they did that. And I
Oh,
was just like, like I left, I didn't even finish my. I was like,
yeah.
I just wanted one drink after work. I just walked out. I was like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's definitely, a matter of concept. There are places, in particular bars, where the name of the game is volume. They want to get as many people as they can in and out of that place in one shift, one day, and good for them. I mean, I wish every business success, especially nowadays. I mean, I know there's a lot of businesses that aren't going to make it out of this. Some are hanging on by a thread. And, of course, I expect every business to do what they have to do to stay open. But it's just a different concept, We're not trying to pack people in here like sardines. It's quality over quantity kind of place, and we're not trying to get you fucked up. I mean, that's the bottom line. If it's the kind of place where we encourage drinking socially, drinking for taste, not so much out of hedonism and excess. We want you to come back. We want everybody around you to be as happy as you are. We want a sense of community, and keeping things quiet and keeping the rowdiness out, I think, is a great way to do it, because it's got to be about conversation. And if you allow things to get out of hand, I think if we allowed that, we would lose kind of the feel of the place. So I would rather have a few really nice, really happy, very respectful customers than over having to call the cops every weekend.
Have you ever had that problem, like, so far, like before everything this happened? Have you ever had like someone that just came here and got trash and just became a mess?
It's very rare. I mean, it's happened a couple of times, and I think each instance went really well. And sometimes, at least one of the times, it wasn't even a matter of being inebriated. This particular customer was just
a jerk.
He's an asshole, and that's what it. Another thing I'd like to say about the place is you can show up in jeans and a t-shirt, or you can walk in here in a $3,000-$4,000 suit, and at the end of the day, all we ask is don't be an asshole. That's it. That's what the place is about. It's inclusive. We want anybody and everybody to feel like they can be here, even if whether they can afford to come every day or whether they're just here to celebrate some big accomplishment. Whatever it is, we want you to feel comfortable. We don't want it to be intimidating for anybody, regardless of things like age and your financial standing or anything like that. So one of the guys that I asked to leave and not come back actually got dropped off by a chauffeur in a blacked out Tahoe, and he had a little bit of an entourage. I mean, maybe I should know who the guy was, but I didn't. All I know is he was an asshole, and he won't come back. But yeah, but the vast majority of the time, 99% of the time, everything is fine. It's quiet, it's orderly, and it's comfortable, I hope, for everybody that's here. So we don't have a lot of problems. We really don't.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I think that's something that we've always seen. I think that's the reason we like it so much, is because you don't really have to worry about like when you go to the bar or the club. It's like you got to be looking out to see what's going on and make sure no one gets too rowdy and they get drunk and they start acting a fool. Like here, it's always just been like, hey, we're gonna go there, we're gonna chill and have a good time. Like we already know, like we're not gonna have to worry about that. Yeah. So I think for me, like that's always been the thing that I've liked about coming here.
That's good. That's how it should be, man. You have a good time, and you allow everybody else to have a good time, and that's what it's about. We'll all be happy. You might make a new friend, and that's what we need. Everything is so kind of digital now. Everything is so remote. Everything is. I know we call it social media, but it's not all that social, and I think the old-fashioned way to celebrate, to kind of commingle, which is face-to-face, is the best way. Yeah. And we need to bring it back.
Oh, for sure. That's because not too long we did a show with Craft and Social, and it was the same thing. He was saying we have music, we have a movie playing, but it's not that loud, so you cannot have to scream to someone. It's like, hey, how you doing? It's like, no, you can have, like we're having right here, like it's a good conversation. You can sit across the table and meet someone else, or across the lounge and be like, hey, where you're smoking, like, where you're drinking, and it's kind of dead everywhere else. Not like there's other places I haven't even restaurants, they don't have that anymore either.
Right.
Which is, it sucks. It's kind of sad and it sucks because you came by myself and I don't just gave me feel more lonely. Just have my own meal.
Yeah.
But it's
Lonely. Oh my God.
Hey, I'm a lonely person.
No wonder your throat hurts today.
Yeah.
It's rough though, right? I mean, it's crazy. It's so different. It's bizarre. I mean, I keep thinking, you know, because this has been going on for 5 months now,
Yeah.
and I keep thinking that that I'll get better at it or that it'll get easier.
But it's it just gets more limited. Well, not, like there's more limitations now to do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hard part about it is just being able to adapt to everything and kind of really know what can I do, what can't I do, what should I do, what shouldn't I do.
Yeah.
I think that's really been the hardest part, and then above that, I mean, just the fact that, you know, unfortunately, so many people have lost their jobs, so many people's businesses have been affected to the way that they have been, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like, you know, it's, you
Yeah.
never want to see that happen, but unfortunately,
Right.
it's the thing that we're having to deal with right now.
Yeah. And on that note, actually, I'd like to mention that if you're not already a cigar smoker, consider it, because, you know, even if you don't want to come here, but you want to come buy one, take it home, it's a really great way to do nothing.
Yeah, actually, it is.
You know, your typical Robusto size cigar will smoke for about an hour. If you're a really slow smoker like I am, it can last an hour and a half. But, you know, and if you, especially if you have an intention, a purpose, for example, you know, you wanna try to get out of the habit of staring into your phone all night, especially before bedtime. A cigar is a great way to do that. If you have a hard time staying away from your phone for an hour,
Yeah.
light a cigar and say, I'm not checking my phone until I'm done smoking this cigar. If there's something you want to add, something you're not doing enough of, for example, reading a book.
I was
You know?
gonna say that. I was like, have
Yeah.
a cigar and read a book. Like,
Oh, absolutely, and it's a great way to do it because, you know, cigars have, you know, they can produce what's called a biphasic effect. You know, it's a double effect in that it stimulates your brain, but it relaxes your body, and that's great for something like sitting down and reading a book, you know, with a cup of coffee. And it's kind of like, you know, some people suggest getting one of those sand timers,
yeah.
you know, where you turn it over and you don't stop doing something until it runs out. This is better than a sand timer.
Yeah, because you don't have to just.
Yeah,
looking at
you know,
something.
you can see it and you keep whatever habit it is that you're trying to develop. You can tell yourself to keep doing it until you finish the cigar. It teaches you to unwind, slow down.
Maybe I should do it for running.
I don't know. It seems kind of impractical, but
Man, I can only run 20 minutes. I gotta get to the hour. Let's go.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I don't know about that. But if you like cigars
You can
enough,
try.
you know, you could, for example, say, I'm going to treat myself to a cigar if I run 3 times this week.
That's true. That's true.
You know, you could do it that way. I don't know about running with it.
Like me riding a bike with the cigar.
Hey, that used to happen because for a long time, people thought that these were good, you know, good medicinally good for you. And there are some old photos of cyclists in the Tour de France
Oh
who
shoot.
would ride their bikes next to each other and hold each other up while they were passing
The cigar.
a cigar or a cigarette back and forth because they thought that it was actually a performance enhancer. They thought it was a bronchodilator. They thought it would help them breathe and finish the race.
That's what they should
Of course, we know better now, but
Yeah.
yeah,
You just picture that nowadays. The
yeah.
Olympics, like,
Yeah,
look
right.
at those guys doing. It's like,
Mhm.
passing a cigar, dude.
Uh-huh.
They're
To their
like,
teammate.
and they'll take a quick cigar break before I get to my Global race.
Uh-huh. Imagine, you know, Michael Jordan, instead of waiting until after they won the game,
Well,
smoking a cigar between quarters or
I was
at
saying,
halftime.
he did smoke a lot of cigars, so it might be why he is the greatest.
Hey, you
Could
never
be.
know.
That could be.
Because that's the other thing. Like, if you guys smoke cigarettes, come try a cigar. Because you might. Cause some people like try to like they start smoking cigarettes a lot. Like they'll finish a pack in an hour or less.
Mhm.
Like, you know what? Reduce it down and have one cigar. Like,
Mhm.
it might last you an hour,
Mhm.
but it has a taste.
Mhm.
I come to know that just by coming here. There's every cigar is different, every brand. Which I was gonna ask something later, but I'll do it right now. Well, before I finish my point, because I want to go all over it. Like there are sweet cigars, there are tardy, there are coffee flavored cigars. There's different. You once explained me about how they pack it. It also changed a lot on the flavor and the feel it, the way it makes you feel this smoothness of the smoke. Which to that point I was gonna ask, like, how do you select your stash here, like what do you have for the people, like what's your process to be like, you know what, I want to sell this cigar? Do you go and every cigar that you have at the moment you try it before, or or you're like, oh, well, people buy this, I'm gonna get it even if I don't like it, or it's more of like a what or not sales, or what do you like?
Well, it's definitely tough to sell a cigar, especially to somebody who is new or trying to get into it. In fact, the majority of the time when it is a new smoker, I end up having more questions than the customer. You know, I try to get a feel for where their palate lies with other consumables, like beer, for example. If you drink if you choose your beer to avoid the taste of beer, not to knock any beer really. I mean, if you like Michelob Ultra, fine. But let's face it, if you're drinking Michelob Ultra or Pabst Blue Ribbon or Milwaukee's Best or something like that, you're actually avoiding the taste of beer. If you can't drink coffee without loading it up with cream and sugar, you're looking for the effect of coffee, but you're trying to mask the taste of the coffee. Yeah, so it's different. It's like you don't call yourself a wine drinker if all you drink is Boone's Farm. Makes sense? Or that bottled sangria, with fruit flavors and sugar added. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think that also applies to cigars. There are some people who like to smoke cigars, but they need that sweetener, they need that flavor added. And fine. But getting back to the point, that's what I try to figure out first, is where they are, where their palate is in terms of other consumables, because that gives me an idea of at least a direction to take in the humidor downstairs. It's tough. We have about 360 different cigars to choose from. And if everybody liked the same thing, not only would my job be a lot easier, but we wouldn't have 360 cigars. If there was such a thing as one best cigar, then I would only carry that one. My job would be much easier. It
would be like Willy Wonka.
Yeah, everybody would want that one cigar, and man, I'd be set.
That's crazy. 360.
Yeah. But I think that's the most important thing to remember, is that that it's completely subjective, all of it. That's why if you're first starting out, if you're interested in exploring cigars, the best advice I can give you is for the first year, I would say smoke a different cigar every time you smoke, because that's going to be really the only way you learn cigars. There are plenty of people who come in, and especially people who have been smoking for a long time, and they say, well, I'm a cigar smoker, but all I smoke is Monte Cristo, for example. And I rarely say this out loud, but what that makes me think is, well, you're not a cigar smoker then, you're a Monte Cristo smoker. And there's a big difference. Because I think somebody who really knows cigars is somebody who's willing to try a new cigar every chance.
You can go.
That's okay. Do you know if I need to go back at all? Or
no, I was just...
we'll figure it out at editing.
Yeah. I'll fix it on post.
So this will be the longest part?
No.
Did it all get cut out?
He's gonna be like, what happened?
I'm just gonna put like pictures.
Yeah, we were here for an hour.
It's gonna be the question, and then All right, cool. Thank you for that. I was like, what?
We're here for an hour and got 7 minutes of audio.
I'm gonna put like a secret video on the site. Like you have to find the link, and that's how you get the answer. I'm gonna put a scavenger hunt.
We'll do it. They have to come buy a cigar, and then they get the password to go and watch the rest of the video.
So yeah, as I was saying, there's so much variety out there that's one of the challenges for me, especially in introducing somebody to cigar smoking, because I really, and I often get asked, well, what's the best cigar?
What do you like?
I think it was Pete Johnson of Tatuaje, a cigar manufacturer, who was asked that question, what's the best cigar? And his answer, he said it best. The answer was the one in your hand. The best cigar in the world is the one you're smoking right now. And there's some truth to that, but the point is, you don't want to have one favorite. And I certainly don't have one favorite, which is why I never answer that question. What's the best cigar? Man, I don't know, but let's find yours. Or let's find 8 best cigars for you if we can. And if that takes 6 months, if you got to come in here once or twice a month or 6 months before you finally decide that you think something is the best, fine, great. Let it take that long, that's fine. But there is no such thing as one best cigar.
See, that's good advice and a good marketing plan.
And some would argue it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Some would say, no, if you're a businessman, you if somebody comes in and asks what they should smoke, you need to have an answer. Well, I don't.
Because the
I know
idea
that.
is
Yeah.
you're telling them like, nah, man, you gotta try as many as you can, and then you decide. Because then you're getting them to try them, and you're selling them. So I'm just saying.
Well, and actually, what I'm trying to do is what I want to avoid is pushing a cigar on you just because the markup is better on it or I'm overstocked on it. If I'm overstocked on something, that's my own fucking fault, and I'm not going to make you pay for it. So I'm going to ask you a ton of questions, and I'm going to try to figure out, in my opinion, what the best one is for you to try today. I don't want to. I want you to come back. I want you to smoke a second cigar, a third cigar, and I want you to come back with questions. No such thing as a dumb question. I don't want that intimidation factor here, whether you've been here one time or 100. Let me hear all those quote unquote dumb questions. I want to do my best to answer them, and I want you to walk out of here feeling like you picked the cigar. Because if you don't like it, it's your own damn fault and not mine.
That's true.
Yeah, because I think like everybody's like, oh, I need a Cuban. Like it's always everybody thinks the Cuban is the best cigar out there.
That's a myth.
But it's just like
Well,
maybe it's not. Maybe it's not for you.
Right.
Maybe
It's just the fact that you couldn't get them for so long.
Right, yeah, it's a forbidden fruit kind of a thing.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, and that's one of my pet peeves is that question, and I'm honestly surprised at how often it still gets asked, because I feel like it should be pretty well known that we still have a trade embargo with Cuba. So
Wait,
it's not just cigars and rum.
They ask you if you have them?
Yeah, I'm looking for Cubans. Do you have them? And what I want to say is, do you know what country you're in? We still have a trade embargo with Cuba, and it doesn't. And it's not just cigars
You
and rum.
should ask them, like, have you found them anywhere else?
Yeah.
No. That probably tells you, man, I don't have them.
And there are things that you think when you're in business, right, and you can't say them out loud. You got to be careful. Of course, I want you to come back even if you are looking for Cubans. But yeah, and it's not just cigars and rum. But if it's made in Cuba, you cannot sell it in the U.S.
Okay.
Period. It can be a Cuban T-shirt. If it's made in Cuba, you can't sell it here.
that's how I'm waiting on those cars to come
Cuba.
back to the States. Because that's my first. I was like, shoot, those 50s Bel Airs.
Oh.
When I import them over here, put back that American engine because they put those Chinese engines on there.
Oh, that'd be great. A car you can actually work on yourself without nothing but sealed parts.
Yeah.
But you touched on something else too. Is the misunderstanding that if it's Cuban, it's great. That's marketing. That's hype. In fact, I can tell you now that I've been to that I've been in the industry so long, and that I've traveled so far one time to Nicaragua and visited the factories and the farms and stuff, that there was a particular tobacco growing region in Nicaragua called the Jalapa Valley. And they share this valley with Honduras. And in Nicaragua it's called Jalapa, and in Honduras it's called Jamastran. But anyway, that's a very important tobacco producing region in Nicaragua and Honduras. And it's the region that tends to, according to some people, tends to produce tobaccos that are closest in flavor to Cuban tobacco. Another interesting thing about this particular region in Nicaragua is that it's actually the least fertile tobacco growing region in Nicaragua. To say it another way, the region in Nicaragua that produces tobaccos that are closest in flavor to Cuba has the weakest soil of all the growing regions in Nicaragua. So yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. If you've had all the Cubans in the world and you're still sure that you only like Cubans, I'm cool with that. I'm still gonna get you to try something out of, with a lot of Jalapa tobacco in it.
And it might be good for them. They
yeah,
might like it.
They might like it, but if again, I go back to, if you really want to understand cigars, you're going to try everything. Just like a wine drinker. A wine drinker understands that just because a particular vineyard produced their favorite wine this year, they're not going to go buy 10 cases of next year's vintage without trying it first, because it might be completely different. You've got differences in rainfall, average, sunshine, temperature, so many things you can't control, which is one of the things I like about tobacco.
So then, you mentioned stupid questions. Here's a stupid question. There's tobacco in cigars, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much is there compared to like cigarettes and stuff? Like, what's the difference with all that? Is it really much or not much? Or?
That's an actual good question.
Well, a cigar is all tobacco.
Okay.
You mean nicotine?
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there's definitely nicotine in a cigar. There's nicotine in all tobacco. Mm-hmm. Right. And in terms of the amount of nicotine, it depends on a lot of things. How big the cigar is, what kind of tobacco it is, and nicotine is sort of a product of the metabolism of a tobacco plant. So it's going to vary from cigar to cigar, and it may even vary from harvest to harvest, even if you try to reproduce the growing conditions from one season to the next. There's going to be differences, of course. But contrary to popular belief, it's not nicotine itself that's the problem. At least not completely. If you ask a lot of people, well, why shouldn't I smoke a cigar? Oh, it's got nicotine. Well, you don't see anybody pushing to outlaw ketchup, tomatoes, potatoes, or eggplant. Mm-hmm. By the way, all of those things have nicotine.
I wonder I'm addicted to ketchup.
In the case of eggplant, there can be quite a bit. Quite a bit of nicotine sometimes in eggplant. So that's not to say that nicotine is healthy, that cigars are healthy, that cigarettes are healthy. There are certainly differences. I think the method of consumption is always something to consider. What I mean is that with a cigarette, the point of a cigarette is to get a hit of nicotine as quickly as you possibly can. Now, none of what I'm about to say is medical advice, okay? So don't take it that way.
Disclaimer. He's not a doctor.
No, I'm not suggesting cigar smoking.
He may play one on TV, but he is not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor. Can we edit that out, please? Yeah. Especially in this day and age, we have to edit that out.
I'll bleep it. I'll bleep it or put something on top of it.
But so a cigarette, if you drive by a hospital in the middle of winter when it's cold, and you see a couple of nurses huddling, over by the fucking dumpsters behind the hospital,
They're smoking.
smoking a cigarette because they got a 5-minute break. They don't look very relaxed.
No.
I mean, they're trying to down that cigarette as fast as they can and then go back to work. And it's different with, it should be different with a cigar. I don't necessarily, I'm not suggesting that cigars are a good way to quit smoking cigarettes, but it can be a better option, not a good option, but a better option because there's a culture behind smoking a cigar. You should never light a cigar unless you have time to sit down and finish it. If you're going to smoke a cigar 5 minutes at a time, you might as well be smoking a cigarette. A cigarette burns at a much higher temperature than a cigar does. These burn much cooler. It's oily fermented leaf is all that it is, and that's another big difference between cigars and cigarettes. Is that these are for the most part all tobacco. They don't have the additives that the cigarettes do. So I think that's an advantage. As with anything else, any drug, I think the faster the high hits, the more addictive anything it is. Chewing on a coca leaf is not the same as doing a line of cocaine. I'm going to assume.
Yeah, what are you looking at me? God damn it.
I don't know. You just look like you cheated on a cookie.
No, I haven't. Yeah.
A better, more PG example. Drinking a cup of coffee is not the same thing as taking caffeine pills.
Oh, that one, it's not.
Right? It's not
That
the
one I
same
can
thing.
actually answer. It's not.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, I think if you're a cigarette smoker, you should quit. And that's not my way of suggesting that you change a cigarette habit for a cigar habit. Don't smoke often, respect it, take your time, do it slow. If you light it, finish it, and do not inhale.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I actually like cigars. I think my first cigar I had it with you outside your front porch. We used to live across the street, but it's because I used to smoke cigarettes, and it was just like you had to, like, I was in middle school, it was like fucking have my fucking reasons like to smoke something, and how like having that, like, it has a flavor, and it makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Like even and I have a fond memory of my grandfather from my mom's side. He smoked cigars, Romeo and Juliet's, but he would smoke them as he played piano.
Wow.
So that was just like a memory that I have, and I have asked you. I asked your wife Mia. I was like, do you guys have Romeo and Juliet? Just because it's just a memory of mine. Like I never tried it. I remember the smell. I haven't tried the cigar. But I just remember that, and it's just a fun memory. But there's sometimes when I'll come buy a cigar, and what I'm doing, like I'll have a cigar and I'm working on my car.
Yeah.
Like it takes, like I don't have to like finish it up and then take out a part. Like I'll have a couple hits, and then be on the floor, like under the engine.
Hopefully not draining your gas tank or anything, while you're smoking.
Not yet. I haven't gone to that. I put it afar. I care too much of my car.
You're like that girl that blew herself up trying to light up her car on fire.
Ex-boyfriend.
Or ex-boyfriend, whatever.
But yeah, like it's a taste. Like it's like I always compare it to whiskey because there's a lot of whiskey and they all have different tastes. If you ever go to Kentucky, I recommend to go do the Kentucky whiskey tour.
I haven't done it yet.
Dude, that's how I found Angel's Envy.
Oh yeah.
And I remember.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, it's all their fault.
Yeah.
Heaven Hill Distillery, right in Bardstown, Kentucky.
And it's a whole day thing. Like you start. I think I went with a couple of friends. It was something else for a friend. Like they went to do like an event. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, there's a whiskey tour, so I'll go with them.
Mhm.
And they didn't see me at all. They just saw me like they haven't even left for the event, and I just came back. I came back wasted. And they're like, "Where were you to the whiskey tour?" But at that point I was like, I knew how much the difference is with whiskey is how much, because you have it on just simple no ice or anything, and then every 5 minutes a girl comes in and drops 2 drops of water
Yeah.
on your whiskey, and it changes the flavor. And I feel like a cigar, if you're having a whiskey next to it, every time you have it, it's different for both. The cigar changes as you go with the drink, and the drink changes as you go with the cigar.
Absolutely.
And actually, right now with this one, they just gave me it actually goes perfect with this beer. Like, it kind of complements the beer. And I'm just like, oh, cool. Like, so I always feel like every time I have a cigar, I always have a stout. Because also I'm a stout fan.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know what? This is the first time I have a coconut pale ale. And then this cigar just actually like complements the
Oh,
beer.
that's cool. Yeah, well, what Alex is smoking over there is Foundation Cigar Company's the Upsetter in the small axe Vitola. And it's comparable to the more popular Duracell Acid in its flavor infusion. It's very kind of botanical, really aromatic, sort of herbaceous. And what's cool about the Upsetter is that it's sweetened with molasses, but those herbs and botanicals and that kind of a perfumey aroma and taste that it has, I can see why it might go well with something, with coconut.
Yeah, and it has a really light taste of coconut, but it's there. Like
Yeah.
it's like how you burp it and you're like, oh.
Yeah. I'm not having the same thing you're having,
no.
but it almost, yeah.
I'll leave you the beer so you can try it.
I'm not having the same thing you're having, but I almost feel like it would be like the experience is somewhat tropical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually it is.
Cool.
I was like, oh shoot.
Okay, Jackie Moon, take it easy.
My pants are shorts now.
Oh, yeah.
My pants are shorts now.
Well, I don't want to see you in a grass skirt.
You're gonna start singing Love
5
You
hours
Sexy.
from now. Love sexy. Submit to sex. Damn. Good song.
It's fire.
Let's make this officially shout out number 2 to my beautiful wife, Mia. Thank you. Vitolas would be nothing without you. Thank you.
See me? He cares.
I do.
Cause it's
So I mean, I guess if you said it, obviously it's like a huge teamwork thing between the two of you, right? To make this all work.
Oh yeah, I mean I just stand here and sell cigars and whiskey when we can. But Mia contributes that female energy that the place sorely needed, and I'm glad that she was on board from day one, from day -100. Yeah, she's an amazing asset to the place, and I don't want to tell you how often people walk in the door and say, "Where's Mia?" And I want to say, "Who cares? I'm here."
like, no, they walk
Yeah,
out.
no, she's a great asset to the place. I honestly don't think the place would be what it is without Mia. And I can say the same thing about a few other people, but Mia's energy is here even if she's not, and that's a big part of Vitolas. Big part.
Yeah, especially because you have like one of the things is you have her artwork here.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Mia for years, and it's just like as soon as I saw one of the drawings, I was like, "That's Mia."
Mia.
Like I was like, "That's totally Mia."
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the portraits, some of the ladies even kind of look like her, huh?
Yeah. Her and Alyssa, it's like somehow like there's always a hint of like I don't know if it's someone else
Yeah.
or it's Mia or it's Alyssa. It always looks like it's one of them.
And that's Alyssa Salome, whose art we also have on display downstairs. A couple of her pieces are here too. Thank you, Alyssa.
And we just kind of, I guess, ended in a way. Like you said, what I was smoking. I'm curious what you're smoking. and the reason why you picked that cigar today.
Well, I'm smoking. What is the camera? I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm gonna walk up real quick.
Special shot.
I'll put the name under it. Yeah.
Maybe if I block it.
Well, no, I set it up for us. But I'll put the logo and everything for them.
I tried. But this is a cigar made by Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, owned by Steve Saka, who used to work for Jewish State. Jewish State is a company that makes the acid, the cigar that you like to smoke, among many others. They've got a huge portfolio. But this cigar is called Sin Compromiso. The Liga is called Sin Compromiso. And I like this cigar for a lot of reasons. This is probably my favorite, if not, or maybe my second favorite cigar from Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. But I love this company because, and don't get me wrong, I have great reps. And I'd love to give a shout out to all of them. I have wonderful representatives from numerous companies, but honestly, I think Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust kind of sets the bar in terms of account management. And I know Steve can't and wouldn't take all of the credit for that. We've got Ivan Ramey, who answers my emails and takes my calls, and his wife Cindy Saka. And he'll be the first to say that they're an important part of his company, just like me as an important part of mine, along with my brother, my dad, and my moms, and my other siblings too. But this company just gives you, I feel like more than most other companies, they give you all of the information that you need to sell their cigars. They don't just take your money and then leave you alone. There's constant follow-up. There's absolutely no hesitation to answer questions. And I really like that about them. And then on top of that, their cigars are damn good. So, I'm a big fan of Dunbarton. Not playing favorites here. I think there's a lot of great cigars to smoke down there. And even for me, it can be hard to choose one. But I have a lot of respect for Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. So, keep up the good work, guys.
Well, you mentioned, because you mentioned your family, and I always see them here. I see your brother and your dad. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of businesses here have like missed, because it does feel like it has like a homey like place, like feeling, like you feel welcome, not just because the people in the community that come in, but feels like you're walking into someone's house. And they're like
you can go to the bathroom and take a shower, and you're like, all right, thanks. Guys.
Damn, I was like, how are we gonna do that? So if Cesar goes to your house, he wants to take a shower.
I'm saying, if it feels homey, I'm gonna take a shower.
It feels like a good place that I just want to keep coming. That's one of the reasons like we come here. Like we don't come as often, but when we come, we don't feel like we just have to have one cigar, one drink, and leave, or just have a drink or whatever.
No, we'll end up chilling for like 4 or 5 hours here.
Yeah, and we'll be playing a game. You guys have board games, which actually include people to come in and like meet people and just okay, let's play chess, let's play Jenga, let's play Cards Against Humanity, whatever it is. But it has that feeling of just homey. Like it feels like it's a good community.
You belong, man.
Yeah, like you don't feel outed even if it's your first time.
Yeah.
Like you say, you answer the questions, you try to make them feel and they find what they like, which a lot of places, sadly, they don't do that. They'll be like, well, what do you want to drink, or what's your favorite drink? Like, here we have it. You actually spend the time of getting to know your clientele.
I'm glad that you brought that up again for me to elaborate on, because honestly, not only, especially in the beginning and especially now that we've been dealing with this pandemic, man, I mean, I couldn't thank my family enough. Not only my immediate family, but Mia's family too, her mom and dad, a ton of her cousins. I want to give a shout out to everybody who's related to me by blood and not by marriage. Close relations, distant relations. can't name them all, and I don't want to risk leaving anybody out, but you know who you are. And honestly, we wouldn't be here without you. I think that planted the seed here at Vitolas. It's going to sound cheesy, but the seed of love, right? Of unconditional love. And who? Ellis Costello, right? It's the one thing we have too little of. It's the only thing we have too little of. And I think that should be the theme of the place, you know. We got to love one another. Get together, talk to each other, love one another, and hopefully smoke a cigar while you do it.
Well, with that,
yeah, that's really cool. And I guess like with that,
yeah, that was like the perfect
that was like
thing.
the perfect way. I mean, thank you again for having us here. We appreciate everything, you know, that you've allowed us to come into your spot and record this. Before we go, is there anything you want to shout out? Any Instagram, Facebook, or anything like that, so people can know where to find you guys and check you guys out?
Absolutely. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Google, Yelp. I'd like to mention that we are capable and willing and to do takeout service, curbside delivery. We can even do next day delivery to your house if you order online. Our menu is up online. There's still some tweaking we need to do to it and some images to add, but it is up there. You know, you could go to our Facebook page, for example, and just hit the Shop Now button, and it'll take you directly to our ordering website. And I'm fairly certain the Google page will do the same. But if you have any questions, no matter what, you can always give the store a call at 915-626-5625. We'll be happy to help you, and you know, we look forward to seeing you guys.
Cool. Well, thank you again for having us.
Thank
you
you
guys
guys
for watching again this week. Be sure to come check out Vitolas. And also, one final thank you to Old Sheepdog Brewery, our sponsor. Please be sure to check them out as well. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, as well as our YouTube, and be on the lookout for future content from us and our other projects that we each individually have. Alex, anything else?
No, just come on down to Vitolas and learn about cigars and find your taste thing.
All
So-
right.
Oh,
I like
I
it.
did something professional. And then I ruined it, but
And then he ruins it. But,
Salute, everybody.
all right, thank you guys. See you next time.